Welcome back to That Dad Guy, and welcome back to Stamp of the Month. If you're unfamiliar with Stamp of the Month, every month I select a stamp or series of stamps, talk a bit about its history, its variations, and what it means to the hobby of philately. If you're finding my channel for the first time too, make sure you like, you subscribe, you leave positive comments, and you share with other people. If you put the notification bell on, it'll let you know when new videos are coming out as well. Okay, imagine this. You go to the door, you meet your letter carrier, and there's a card from your grandmother for your birthday, there's a bill, and there's some legal documents. Well, in order to get any of those things, you would have to pay money to receive them. Well, that's the way the postal system used to work. In 1837, this gentleman, Rowland Hill, who was a schoolmaster, published a pamphlet on post office reform. He wanted to see the postal system in a way that it was cheap, it was a flat rate, and it was prepaid. And so this kicked off a change to the postal system. They started a competition. They invited engravers and artists all to apply and give in ideas to create a prepaid stamp that was hard to forge and wouldn't be able to be reused. 2,600 people applied. 4 people were selected for their ideas. Each of those 4 people were given £100 for their troubles, which in today's currency would be about £13,000. That's quite a significant amount for a few ideas. They took these ideas and they used them in the final product, which was Queen Victoria at the age of 15 from a metal engraving by William Wyan. The engraving was then used by Perkins Bacon to create a sheet of 240 stamps that needed scissors to separate them. The stamps featured a white-lined machine-engraved background and a simple crown watermark for forgery protection. You can see the stamp here in all its glory. It is the penny black we're talking. Of course, we're talking about the penny black, the one that started it all. Was it special stamp? It was special, and it was the first. There were 68 million of them produced. Only 5% of them still remain today, which is about 1.3 million. The most valuable plate of penny blacks is plate 11 because that was the last plate that was used. And plate 11 was really meant for its next stamp, the penny red. We're going to get to that one too. But only 700 sheets were produced on the 11th plate, so they are the rarest of them. The penny black was the first of its kind, but it was a black stamp with a red post Maltese cross cancellation on it. And that red ink you could remove, so you could technically reuse the stamp again. So they went to a penny black with a black Maltese cross. Now, that was hard to see. So they decided, well, maybe we should change the color of the penny black and go to the penny blue. That was what was suggested. They ran off some test sheets on plate 8 using blue, but they never really were into circulation. So if you find those are extra rare. The penny red was the one that was used to replace it. It went a red inked stamp with a black Maltese cross generally, and it ran for 40 years. Now the silhouette of the monarch, you have Queen Victoria there, was adopted into all of British stamps to go forward. Britain is the only nation that does not have the name of the country on the stamp because they were the first to invent the stamp. So they put their head of state, their monarch, on it in silhouette form, much like the penny black was to begin. Now, let's talk about the penny black in detail. So we'll zoom in here. At the top, it says postage, which means it was to distinguish it from being a revenue stamp. So if you got postage at the top, it means it was prepaid. On the bottom, it says 1 penny. So that was how much it cost to mail that particular stamp. The background of the portrait are finely engraved engine turnings. You'll see that. In the 2 upper corners, hold Maltese crosses with radiant solar discs at their centers. The lower corners show the position of the stamp in the sheet. So the top left corner of any sheet would have AA, and the bottom right corner would be TL. So those are the 240 stamps within that sheet. Sheets that were printed by Perkins Bacon had 20 rows with 12 columns. The penny black lasted for only 1 year before being changed to the penny red. Jacobs Perkins Press, as you can see here, used to print the penny blacks and then went on to the penny blue and then the penny reds. 11 plates were used in all for the running of the penny blacks. 286,700 sheets were printed. A few stamps that were issued also without the Maltese cross, but were replaced with the letters V and R, were used by government offices. You can see that in this image as well. Now, for me, like I said, I didn't have a penny black in my collection. My father didn't have one, so I decided I would go on to, well, I went to a stamp fair, first of all, here in town. I found one, but it was more than I wanted to pay, but it was a really fine quality one. The next place I went to was eBay and the website HipStamp. eBay had one. I put it in an offer. So you kind of put a bid in, and it takes a week to decide whether or not your bid was going to win or not. You put your maximum amount, but it starts at the bottom and works your way up. On HipStamp, I found one, and all I had to do was make an offer. So they say, well, it's going to be X amount of dollars. I can say, well, I'll pay this, and then the seller has an opportunity to either counter offer or accept the offer. So we went back and forth a couple times, and I actually won that one. But the downside was, while I won this stamp, I was also in the running for the eBay one. So I potentially could have won both of them, and that would have been a problem because then I would have ended up spending just as much had I bought the stamp from the stamp fair. So I was glad in the end when I didn't win the eBay one. Someone outbid me and I didn't go forward with it any further. But I did get this stamp, and I want to show you. It came in a little packet. Show you the picture and then the stamp itself. Not a bad quality. It's rough. I'll give you that. It is rough, but it is an original. I've got authentic papers here to go with it, and it is now something in my collection. The next thing I want to talk about, we talked about the penny black. Well, what did it inspire? It inspired stamps all around the world. It also coins, tie clips, stamps celebrating its 150th, 175th, 180th anniversary. We're all the way up to its 184th anniversary now. Stamps from Norway, Hungary, Liberia, Malaysia, Isle of Man, Republic of Central Africa, Switzerland, Russia, Antigua. They've all issued stamps, and many other nations too, that represented either the artist, the reason that it was transformed into this, or the stamp itself. I've been lucky enough to work with Liverpool Stamps in England, liverpoolstamps.co.uk. You can go there. They have a bunch of different stamps too that you can use. You can use this code TDGMAR. That's That Dad Guy March. That's what it stands for. You're going to get 20% off the penny black, but you'll also get 20% off the Queen Elizabeth II commemorative double head Machants that came out. That was for the 150th anniversary, and the King George VI 100th anniversary stamps. You can see them all here. There are corners, there are plates, there are single issue stamps. Came in a variety of colors, and they have a good selection of them too. So if you're interested in adding any of those to your collections, you can go to liverpoolstamps.co.uk, put in the code TDGMAR, and you're going to get 20% off those. So I want to thank Liverpool Stamps for always stepping up to the plate and giving the option for us collectors out there to fill in some holes where necessary and really enjoy the different variations of stamps that you can find. So the penny black started it all. There are, I don't know if you knew this, there are over 60 million stamp collectors. Now, some people say that stamp collecting has become kind of a bit of a dying hobby. I am seeing a resurgence in some age groups now with other hobbies, but it is something that gets passed on. The excitement of stamp collecting does get infectious if you can find others that are into it as well. And part of that infection is being part of a collection, finding the holes, filling in the gaps, whether you complete your stamp collecting by themes that you're working on, by nations that you're collecting, by years that you collect by. It doesn't matter how you collect. I always talk about that the more that you put into your collection, the better it will be. And I don't mean the more money you add into it or the more stamps, the more passion you add to what you're collecting, however you decide to collect, will make it enjoyable for you. Hopefully, we'll pass it on. These books back here all belong to my father. It was his stamp collection. Now it's my stamp collection. I'm trying to do my twist, my take on it, filling in gaps, but also doing videos like this so other people can see the importance of the stamps and maybe find a love in the stamps as well. This particular penny black that I got, I like it. I'm glad that it's part of the collection. One day, who knows, maybe I'll add some of the others to it. Maybe it'll be a penny blue. There's something to talk about in the future too, but it is a rare. All right, you guys, enjoy this. Use your codes wisely, fill in the gaps, and have a magical week. What, Polo? You say like, subscribe, share, and tell all your friends.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy?
Bye.